This is E-Commerce Uncensored. Brought to you by Fast Forward Unlimited. We're coming to you fully loaded and exposed with all the strategies and techniques for growing your e-commerce business.
Hey everybody, and thanks for joining us on another episode of E-Commerce Uncensored. This is episode number 55, and I'm Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso.
Oh, and Paulie's here too.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Paulie's on the sidelines. He's gonna chime in maybe every once in a while. He's gonna Instagram.
Maybe not. Right,
he's gonna do it all.
Right.
So I don't know, Jason. I'm feeling a little rusty today.
Yeah, it's been a while. I was just thinking about this while we were setting up for the podcast. It's like, we always our intentions are always to do a podcast every week, but the truth of the matter is we've since we've started this podcast, our business as a whole has changed, and we're getting a lot more attention.
Yeah.
A lot more people are coming in here. A lot more people are calling us. We have a lot more clients, and more importantly, more clients that we want to work with. And so it's always like a chore, like it feels like, to set up. But then once we get it going, it's like you get pumped to do this. You know what I mean?
I went away in the end of November, right around Black Friday, Cyber Monday time, through Thanksgiving. By the way, I hope you guys all had a nice Thanksgiving. I know we're a little bit removed from it right now, but
Christmas is coming.
Hanukkah,
happy Hanukkah.
Yeah, thank you. And we're moving on to Christmas in a few days, in a week. I went Monday. Right. But I went away at the end of November, and then we got back. As soon as I got back, we had kind of a surprise meeting with a nice cosmetic company that we're really excited about. So that's kind of why that week didn't work. And then I'm like, okay, Jason, we're doing a podcast tomorrow. We're doing a podcast next Wednesday, and then it's just like we get into it, we come in, and then we just start working, and then by the afternoon time comes, Jason doesn't want to work anymore.
No, actually, let's talk about the brilliant idea of going away during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. First of all, that is probably that's probably the smartest thing you've done in the 2 years that I've been here.
A little irresponsible on my part.
Go away during the busiest time of year for e-commerce companies. So just make sure you do that again.
But I was away, and everything was handled before I left. Everything was in place. I didn't catch all the mistakes, obviously, right, Jason?
Right, the mistake that I made that actually had the best results? That mistake?
I love that.
Okay.
You're a brilliant mistake you had.
Right, but it worked. Anyway, so we want to talk today about, we really had other than a few little things, a very, very, very successful Black Friday, Cyber Monday sort of week for our clients. Now, just to preface this a little bit, because we're going to share some numbers with you that that some of our clients sort of did for that week. And most of the people that we work with at this point really are just kind of bringing their presence to the web, right?
Yeah.
So, we're going to talk about some numbers that may or may not sound all that impressive, but when you hear what they do for the month and then you compare it to what they did for this week, it's like double and triple and quadruple the number that they normally do per month. So it's
it is relatively new for most of them, especially the email aspect of it. They haven't been involved in it too much, and their online presence in general hasn't been that big. So it makes us really excited about what's to come, because we're able to get these kind of results from a lot of the clients we get really aren't involved in marketing. It's new to them. It's not like they're coming from someone else or some. It's usually we need some help marketing. What can we do? And then we present them.
Well, also a lot of brick and mortar companies as well that we deal with. So and then the meeting Kevin was just talking about when he got home. These guys are a $20 million company or a $17 million company. They have a huge online presence. So we're kind of going through a transition, but specifically for this podcast and for what we're going to share, I think that these numbers are going to be more realistic for people who are listening to this, right? The $17 million company, they're making money from all over the place, but guys like you who are listening to this, maybe just starting, and this, you can maybe relate to some of this. And it's interesting because we really, it's like some of these numbers that we're looking at here, it's like I said, there's triple what they're doing for the month. It's like, it's pretty awesome to see,
Yeah, I mean, and we pretty much, we always talk about our 5 keys here. If you've been listening for a long time, we continually jam these 5 keys down your throat.
5 email keys.
5 email keys that we keep talking about over and over again. And we basically continue to use these theories over and over again.
Well, they're not theories.
Theories,
strategies, techniques, or whatever, right? They're not theory. A theory is like... A theory is like...
Concepts.
Yeah, concepts. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you for correcting me, Jason.
Well, I mean, a theory doesn't sound like it's, theory is like something made up. Like, oh, my theory, I have a theory of, relativity.
I'm a philosopher.
Right. Sure you are.
I'm a lot smarter than you are.
Right.
So just deal with it.
Man, you think you are. All it takes is someone to read one of your emails, and then we know who.
Emails? What emails?
Yeah, just like an email you write one of our clients. I got to come in there and, fix it up for you. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Well, I need someone to write at a 3rd grade level, and that's when
and that's the right way to write.
I can count on you for that.
You're talking. The problem is you're writing at a 1st grade level, so I have to bring it up to a 3rd grade level. That's part of the problem.
All right, moving on, Jason. Enough of you.
So, as Kevin said, the 5 keys to email. If you don't know what they are, we will link to a document, a PDF that we have that you can download them, where we explain pretty much, in detail what they are. But just really quickly, I'm going to go through them. The first one is frequency. So the frequency of your email, how many times you send them, or how many times you should send them, or what's the optimum time and the amount of times to send it. That's number 1.
Do you want to talk about them one by one and how we implemented each one? Or do you
we can, but I'm going to just go over them.
Okay, go ahead.
Number 2, your subject line. It's pretty self-explanatory. Number 3 is the email body, is it congruent, right, with your subject line? Like, clickbait really tends to not have any congruency. So when you create a subject line that isn't congruent with your email, you piss people off. So we talk a lot about making sure that the subject line is or has a lot of curiosity, but is also very much congruent with the body of the email. Number 4 is having a call to action. This is the funniest one, because we always, like, somebody out of us 3 picks this up, like, before, like, or like, right when we're about to send it.
It's always the last thing I think of when I'm putting together some creative or whatever. I'm like, okay, it's done. I'm like, I even send it to Jason. I'm like, okay, put it into place. And I'm like, oh wait, Jason, I got to send it to you again. I forgot to put a call to action.
Call to action, which is
so easy to forget.
It's well, especially creatives like you guys. You guys are, Paul and Kevin are, they're graphic designers pretty much by trade. So they're looking at the overall aesthetics of the email, where that kind of is one of those things that are left out.
The last thing Paul and I want to add is like a big blocky button to the middle of the thing, but if you do it right, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, forget about doing it right if you don't do it.
yeah, right, exactly.
And then the last thing is scarcity. That is like a big part of this that I think a lot of people overlook. In fact, I sent out an email last night for one of the clients that we're about to talk about, and basically this is a baby apparel company who is just trying to unload some of their Christmas prints, and basically they're giving a huge discount, for it, but today is the last day that you can order in order to get the print, or to guarantee that the order gets to you by Christmas. And man, they actually sent me an email yesterday, like at 12 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock or whatever it was. And, they're like, hey, can you send them an email tonight? And I'm like, okay, sure. Like, they didn't give me any time to do it. So I'm like, yeah, all right, no problem. So, but the email itself had like a time period, like order within the next 24 hours and get it by Christmas. That's like, and literally I did it last night at 8 o'clock or 7:30, and I woke up this morning and they already have 50 orders. I mean, this is like a little company. I mean, literally, their list is like 3,000 people, right? 3,000 people. So the scarcity, of course, the discount helps. I mean, it's a big discount, and this is a premium baby.
I think this is a big thing too that is really easy to forget to add into the creative. And I don't know if Paul, you feel the same way, but it's always like one of the last things. It seems like really simple. Of course, you got to put an end date to it, but then it's like, oh wait, it's not in there. No one's gonna know when it ends. This may go forever. So that's another thing that is really easy to forget.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. We look for any excuse to email people, right? So like, hey, today's the last day. Hey, the offer's ending tonight. Hey, it's ending in an hour. So we always look for an excuse to email people. And having scarcity, having an end date, is a really good way to have an excuse to email people. So 24 hours, obviously tells them they have to get it within a certain amount of time, and it makes people take action. They don't want to lose out on something that is so good like this offer. So that is the last one, number 5, scarcity.
Yeah.
And we literally took these 5 keys and we used them for pretty much every single one of the email campaigns that we ran, except one, I think.
Yeah, to go down the list, I mean, go one by one. I mean, we set up it for the 20th, November 20th through the 27th, right? Which is a full week of a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, which is how we planned it out before I left for vacation. And we sent out, for most of our clients, we sent out 6 emails, I think, in total. And You're probably saying, holy shit, that's a lot. But that's what made this thing go.
Right.
And our unsubscribe and our spam, the numbers were really low. It wasn't a problem for anyone, and the sales were up.
Yeah, and what Paul did was, just to get kind of like, I don't know, you want to talk about like the different creatives that you came up with? Sure.
Yeah, so for each client, I mean, they were relatively the same overall design, but the guys just had me change up what each specific either day, or I guess just at one point once Black Friday ends, it's Cyber Monday. So we just changed it up so you could differentiate between the overall Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, and then the individual Black Friday deals and Cyber Monday deals. And then we did an extended Cyber Monday deal, which then I had a mistake on that, and what was it? I spelled intended.
Sale intended.
Intended, yeah. You don't spell extended with an N. So
now, if I wasn't away on vacation, I definitely would have caught that mistake.
Yeah, sure you would have. So basically, what Paul just said in a nutshell was, we created some creative for the kickoff date, which was a Monday, right, the 20th, and basically it said Black Friday, Cyber Monday week. Right, so we started off with Black Friday, Cyber Monday week.
To tell them we said specifically it starts now. You don't have to wait till Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It was starting right now.
Right, and that was like a general email that he created. Then he just took the same creative, and that's important. I'm glad you brought that up because I would have forgot. He used the same creative, but then we just changed it. I believe, actually, we sent that email out twice, I believe. Starting now was the 20th. And then we sent out a reminder on Wednesday.
Yeah, 2 days later, we sent it out again.
And then what we did was on Friday, for Black Friday, we said Black Friday is starting now. That's another one. And then we did Black Friday is ending tonight. And then we did another creative for Monday, which is Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday is starting now. Cyber Monday is ending now.
Yeah.
And then Cyber Monday is extended now.
Yeah, we did a lot. We sent out a lot of emails.
But you know what, man? Like, I mean, going down this list, we have a supplements company who did, in just between Monday to Monday, they did $45,000 like in sales. Like, that's for this specific company, or this particular company. I don't know if they do that, in a month.
Yeah.
Online.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they probably don't even come anywhere close to that.
They did it in a 7-day period. It's just because you got to remember that everyone's not going to see every single email. So when we say we sent 6 emails out, the whole list isn't going to see every email that come through. So that's way you get the frequency going, and you hit more and more people as the week goes on.
Yeah, and also you have to get creative as well. Like, if we have a lot of clients, so we kind of we can't. We probably could have sent out more emails. Is basically what I'm saying. Like what we did do. The people who opened the email but didn't click, we sent them an email. The people who opened it and clicked, you can send them another email. And people who didn't open it at all, send them a different email with a different subject line. Which we created all these automations and did that. But that's man. I mean, it was working like crazy. And Kevin's right. Like not everybody sees them, and if you create the automation in a way that you make sure they don't all see them, you can send really as much as you want and not annoy people. So
it was exciting. Every morning I would get up in Aruba and I'd check my email and I'd wait for the email to come through and then I'd just wait for the orders.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
And I'd be like, Jason, where's the email? It didn't go out yet. Where is it?
Right. Crap, I forgot to...
Oh, there's no subjects in there. Okay, good.
Right.
We'll go moving on. A good segue into our next keys, the subject line. And I thought this was kind of interesting, and I'll tell you why, Jason, because I know we talk a lot about like having really curiosity built into your subject lines, but and you're the subject guy here, right? Mm-hmm. When I'm ready to go send an email or we're ready to go send an email, it always goes through you first, and you're the one that put in the subject line. Now, I noticed we talk about like don't throw an offer in the subject line, don't say 20% off, or don't make it seem very salesy.
Don't give the email away before they have a chance to open it.
But I think that this we kind of did a little bit. I mean, we talked about Black Friday, we talked about Cyber Monday, and I think it's a good play because people are waiting for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's right. That's exactly right. So I did screw up. I mean, we have like multiple clients. I created multiple automations for it. It gets very confusing, and it gets very hard to keep track of every single email and every single subject line. So one of them I forgot to put the subject line in. It just said two of them. Well, and it said because it said like email to Wednesday, November whatever it was, 23rd.
Yeah, I'm in. And we set up the automation before I left, and I just put placeholders in all the subject lines. So I get a call. I think it might have been like Wednesday. I get a call from Aruba, and you're like, "Are you by a computer?" I'm like, "I'm in Aruba," but I was in front of the computer actually, because it was actually we were an hour ahead of you, I think, or something.
You were getting lunch or something, right?
Yeah. So he calls me up. He's like, can you check the automation? I can't remember if I put a subject line on one of the emails.
I was driving into the office. That's why I wasn't in front of the computer.
Yeah. So while we're on the phone, I see the email come in. Subject line number 1 is the email.
Now wait, this is like
subject line number 2, whatever.
Number 2. Here's the great part about it is like that email got 55% open rate. Like it was the biggest out of every. It's just insane how that happens. And I always tell Kevin, like whenever I make like a spelling mistake, I'm like, yeah, watch this. He's like, what do you mean watch this? I said, watch. They always do the best because people can't wait to tell you about the mistakes that you make.
Yep.
And it's funny how that works. And you've seen it. Like when I first made the mistake, not this particular example, but before, I'm like, Kev, watch. And he's like, okay. And then it's crazy how it happens. But anyway, this particular offer, as Kevin said, he's like, everybody's waiting for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Everybody's waiting for huge deals. So we switched sort of like the psychology between like not letting them know what the offer is and for this actually letting them know what it is. So for example, we did like huge savings for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? Like we didn't tell them exactly what it was, although later on in the automation we did. Mm-hmm. Again, and like this takes a little bit of practice. I mean, you're not going to know exactly when to do it like instinctively. You're going to have to really do this often because, like what we did was when people didn't open the email, then we would put like the big, like percentage off, right? The big offer. So like they weren't open, then I'd say 50% off in the subject line and they would get them to open it. But you got to kind of, that's just something you got to kind of play with. But yeah, I mean, every single email. In fact, the email I sent out last night, it said 60% off for just 24 hours.
Yeah, like there is sometimes you just got to like tell them because especially if there's a really short time frame like you're talking about, you just want them to see it right up front sometimes. So that, you can switch it up every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, very important. Now, the third one, which is congruency, this is really important as well because if, and I'm not going to talk about why, but like if people get annoyed if you're trying to do the clickbait thing, but there's something that's called expectation of the click, right? Like someone clicks something and they expect something after they click, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're getting them excited about a 50% off and they click and somehow it says, well, if you spend if you spend X and you get 50 or somehow it doesn't go with what they expected, it can work against you. So
yeah, we have a client that we actually had some issues with during this whole time period because they have a brick and mortar and they have an online presence, and they were having some issues back and forth with their vendors and the big sale we were running, and they were complaining about it. So we had this whole thing, and the only reason why I bring that up, your sale, about how confusing it can be, is this client was like so wound up about, oh, my vendors are all upset about we're offering 50% off. Like, what are we going to do? He started just forwarding me emails from other companies, like what they're doing when they have a brick and mortar. And one of the emails was, I read it to you. It was like 50% off when you buy 40 if you don't want to spend 30.
Right.
But it was like, what?
It was like we had no idea what the hell the offer was.
I was like, why are you sending me this?
Right, like.
And the only difference was in the email it said can be used in store also.
Yeah, that was the point, right? So if you have both online, right, like that's something to really think about. But yeah, I mean that was a little crazy. That was crazy. The guy got 300 orders in a week, and like they're upset because their vendors didn't like the offer. It was too strong. They couldn't
Yeah,
offer it in the store.
They were saying they were having customers come in and say, "Oh, I saw this offer online. Can I get that?" And this was upsetting the vendors. Yeah. Like, well, you wouldn't have had that sale. So we talked about this briefly before we got on the podcast about how we could like work this in a little bit, just to like don't be afraid to cross market like your online sales with your in-store sales if you have a brick and mortar.
Cross pollination.
Cross pollination. I like that. Cross pollination marketing.
Well, just cross pollinate.
Can we put a TM on that?
Sure. Let's do it. So, so that they actually did record sales for that week as well. I mean, like I said, they did 300 orders, but it was really important that your subject line and your email is congruent. I really don't know where I'm going with that, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you get that. It's pretty much self-explanatory.
Self-explanatory. The baby guy, who the baby client.
We did a video. We did a promotional video. I don't think we did it on the podcast. We did a promotional video for the podcast, and we were talking about the baby client. And it's like he made it sound like we had a client that was a baby.
Well, that was the other guy. That was the other baby guy. Anyway,
we have a baby client.
So this client, before we spoke about this guy before we started working with him, he was doing like the most he did online. Now he's a brick and mortar as well, but the most he's ever done online was like $8,000 in a month, right? That was the best. Usually it was averaging around 5,000 or 6,000. Using our email technique, 5 keys, he's now averaging somewhere about like 15,000. So it's almost doubled. But just in this 1 week. Just Cyber Monday or Black Friday, Cyber Monday, just that week, he with the same technique, right? I used the same thing. He did $25,000 for that week.
Was he using email at all before we started working with him?
He was, but like it wasn't really converting as well. Like like I said, his emails were getting about 10% open rate. Now they're doing somewhere around like 20% open rates on average. Right? I could, like I said, I send out an email if the offer's strong enough. He'll do like 3,000-4,000 in a day. But he wasn't doing those kind of numbers at all. No. But yeah, this week was awesome, man. There were this specific week. He did 25,000, and then we had this other client who they're a brand new client of ours, and. It was funny because this is an interesting client. Like, we really didn't know what we were going to get, to be honest with you, when we signed these guys up. And, we're really trying. I mean, Kevin is struggling with this, so I have to, like, kind of beat it in his head sometimes.
I can't wait to see what this is.
But it's true.
I can't wait to hear it.
like we are trying, or at least, and Kevin is too. But he he's the bills guy. He's the pay everybody guy. So it's a little harder for him. But we're really trying to work with people that we can actually help, right? Before, this place had a history of just working with anybody and just, not that it's a bad thing, but it's kind of what you have to do when you're in business, right? Yeah. Like you have to pay the bills. You have to pay people. So we really signed this, and why I bring this up is because I don't know, and this is maybe I don't know that if this would have been our ideal client if they came to us today.
I don't think so. I think we would have thought twice about it because they're a very B2B type and they have a very specific audience and a very specific product.
And they actually told us don't expect people to buy through email because it's B2B. They actually told us that.
Yeah.
And we were like, no problem. Just let us try. Long story short, B2B online, this company, they did $22,000.
Yeah.
$22,000 for this week.
Yeah, that's not even close to what they do online on a regular basis. They're really more of a, people call in to place orders and things like that. So they really don't do a lot of online. I mean, their website isn't even mobile friendly. Like, so it was that too. It was like, is this even going to work? And because we're so results driven and we always talk about this, if we really honestly feel like it's just not a right fit and we can't get you the results that we want, we're gonna move on because it's just not, it doesn't make sense for either of us. And we really don't want to go into a situation where we just, get a check every month from you and can't produce for you because it just,
Yeah, and it's what's interesting is that, like, I'm looking at these numbers, and for these specific clients, these are really good numbers. But then you see the guys like talk about, I did $40,000 today, and yesterday I did $30,000, and finding hot products in hot markets is one thing. Like selling products that you have no control over in terms of like how hot or cold they are or the past history of the product is a completely different thing. So yeah, $45,000 in a week is not $45,000 in a day, but it's also not just piggybacking off of some hot product in some hot market, right? It's like a client came to us with a product that they don't even sell online and say, hey, can you sell it for us online? It's a completely different ball game. Yeah, I mean, I probably can go on Alibaba, find a real hot product and it'll sell for like a week and do, $20,000 a day for a week, and then like you got to find another one. I mean, there's people doing that right now, and it's very impressive that they're showing you that they did $20,000 today. And then when you ask them what their profit is, it's like $150. Those kind of numbers we're not talking about here, but this is a little bit different. This is a little bit more tricky, a little bit harder. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I don't have much more to add to that, but I think that there's one more thing, and speaking of the last client you were talking about, and we've talked about it before, is to try, and it goes back to the 80-20 rule. So make sure you're when you want to put together a strong offer, sell what sells, right? Don't try to get too creative, especially this time period. Don't try to like be too creative and be like, oh, people are going to buy this because they're looking for a sale. Sell what you know is going to sell. Right?
Yeah, I mean we learned that as well. So
yeah, we had some hiccups here and there where we tried to sell something that we didn't know would sell, and it wasn't as successful. So just don't get too crazy with new offers, new crazy products that you want to bring to market during a Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, because 80-20 rule as always.
Yeah, and it's from what we saw during this time period, it seemed like the strongest. I mean, I know it sounds pretty obvious, but you got to give a strong offer too. I mean, it just can't be like an offer that people aren't interested in, as Kevin said. It has to be something that's attractive to people. It has to be something that they feel like they're getting a deal for, right? Like that's another thing. It's like don't just like, and we see a lot of people doing this. Like they try to repackage something, like and think that because it's repackaged, it's somehow going to change people's desire for it, and it doesn't really work that way. It's like it needs to be something that's really attractive to them. And I look at this board, like our notes here, it's like everybody had a really strong offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the ones who had a strong offer really did well.
We had a buy one get one free. We had a 50% off. And what was that?
The baby guy was, I believe, 40% off.
Right. And the last one we had 25% off offer, and they're all pretty strong.
Yeah, they're all pretty strong. So yeah.
So I guess that's
it.
we
just wanted to give it kind of like an update.
And we were we're kind of several weeks removed from actually Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So I feel like we were a little bit all over the place. So I hope that, you guys followed along.
We were, but I think, it's like, it was just an update.
There was a lot.
I think.
There was a lot going on.
I'll tell you what, man. Like, after Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I didn't want to look at an email for a freaking month. Like, I don't want to look at an email anyway, but I'm just saying, usually I don't want to do it for a month. I mean, I was decompressing, I think, for like, still am.
Yeah, that was a crazy week. I was in Aruba, so it wasn't that crazy for me. But I did have to check up on you.
You did. You did have you had something to handle while you were there.
And the last thing, I mean, we're noticing it's like, okay, we did these huge offers, and now we're still trying to email through December, and it's slowing down a little bit for a lot of our clients.
It's a lot of fatigue, I think.
Yeah,
yeah, a lot of fatigue, and it's definitely like it's kind of hard because our clients still want results, but man, I don't know. I feel like people are done shopping. I mean, I am.
Yeah.
Although I bought one present only. My wife does all the shopping.
When you give them a strong offer for a week like that, and then you try to come back and
do like a weak one,
not as strong. It's just not gonna, So be prepared for that too. Don't think like it's gonna go on forever. Yeah. But I think that's
that's it, man. I'm like, I hope I don't know how much you learned from this, but we just wanted to report back. And I know it's been a little while. It's been long, but
we'll come back. We'll come back next week with we'll do like a year recap, maybe something, what we learned over 2017, new things we're going to 2018.
Listen to that one like the week after Christmas and before New Year's.
Oh yeah,
probably a big one.
It's gonna be a monster. Yeah. Anyway, you guys have a great Christmas, and we'll talk to you next week right before New Year's.
Later.
Merry Christmas.
And you can go to the podcast notes at ecommerceuncensored.com.
They'll be up by next Christmas.
See you
later.